What's up, everybody? This is Apollo Trades. I just wanted to kind of recap my thoughts on the past week and just be a little raw on this video. I really don't have any ideas coming into this. I'm just speaking off the top of my mind. Continue to be persistent in whatever you guys are doing. I know that my last video I made, I was talking about consistency is king, and it's true, right? Besides, of course, our Lord Jesus. It's amazing, really, what you can do with just a little bit of showing up every single day, not worrying about the outcome of any given day, but just specifically showing up for yourself, being there, putting in effort day in, day out. It's amazing, really. And honestly, last week, so I'm still one day away from a payout. My account's a little bit in drawdown right now, and it was stressful, don't get me wrong. And it still is. But over the week, the losses that I took, or the break-evens I took, because I took 3 break-evens in a row, which has never happened to me before with my model. I tweaked it a little bit. I tried to figure out, okay, what can I isolate to make more mechanical with my model? What can I change to be more sufficient over a certain sample size? And I actually figured out 2-3 criteria. One of the biggest things I found was that I was taking losses when I was trying to execute longs or shorts on a separate trading leg. Like, if my setup presents itself and then it's either too far away from the entry or it's not just perfect for what I'm looking for, if another trading leg develops and then we finally get that entry, if I take those, I lose most of the time. Or if I try and trade a 5-minute fair value gap or try and look into a lower time frame, is usually when I start messing up on some things. I was kind of insecure about 30-second SMTs and stuff like that, but over the more time I do more videos, you'll kind of figure out what's going on with that. And yeah, that was really it for this week. My thoughts coming into this next coming week is just execution. Execution. No matter if you're feeling hesitant on it, no matter if you're feeling greedy on a certain setup, I want to make my entry model as specific, mechanical, and repeatable as possible. And if that's not your goal, then honestly, I don't know what to tell you. Because even if you trade discretionary, you at least have an idea of your mind of what you want things to look like before you execute on a trade. And if you're executing on something that looks completely different from another setup than you're taking, then there's something wrong. It should be constantly repeatable. A pattern that describes itself to you and you say, okay, I need this, this, and this, and once it's there, we're good. So not only consistency in your schedule, consistency in your life, but consistency in the setups you're taking. Consistency in your risk, understanding your predefined risk before you get into any trade, what you're willing to lose to say, okay, I was wrong on this, right? It just didn't play out, it didn't go my direction, whatever. But I think the idea of this general video is to just say, put that work in to see if your model plays out. You need to be able to be self-sufficient, self-disciplined, and have a little bit of perseverance through these things. Because a lot of people are unsure about their model that they're trading. And they want to say that, oh, it's my psychology. Like, I can't get myself to get into a trade because I'm feeling hesitant, I'm feeling greedy, I'm feeling fearful that I might lose. No. Psychology is important, but if you don't test the model, you don't know what exactly you're looking for, of course you're going to be hesitant on every trade. You're not going to know what to take because you have general guidelines in your head, but you're just not going to understand what to do. There was a lot of setups this past week where I would sit there, see it, mark it out, and say, I don't know if I should take this or not. I'm going to let it play out, and it ended up being a winner. Whenever I retweaked my model to be able to figure out and kind of cut away the bull crap, I figured out that last week I would have done amazing. I would have done fine. There would have been nothing wrong with it. I think I would have ended the week with 1 L and like 2-3 winners instead of 3 break evens. So at the end of the day, you need to isolate, put the work in, and figure out what works, what doesn't. And the only person that's going to do that is you. You have to drive that work. You have to put in the time on your model to backtest a big enough sample data size that there's no question. There's no hesitation on what you should take and what you should not take. And don't get me wrong, right? There's still setups that present themselves, even in my back testing, whenever I'm going over the model after I've tweaked and figured out what works for me. There's still going to be a situation that comes up that says, oh, well, this may look better here, blah, 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 blah. That's fine, right? That's fine. But the core idea of your model should be repeatable, consistent, and mechanical every single time. Even if you trade discretionary, which sounds funny in a way saying that, but it's true, right? If you have a discretionary model where sometimes you take something, sometimes you don't, in a way, it's still mechanical. You are still looking for things that look good enough to take. They just might not be the same confluences, and that's fine. If you're successful with it, then you know exactly what to look for. But that's the problem. The people that aren't successful with it, which is the majority, are the people that are not backtesting properly. They're using replay mode on every single trade they're taking. So whenever they get their results, they're like, oh, I have a 75, 80% win rate on my model. Hindsight's 2020. Of course you're going to have those numbers if you know what the trade's going to do before you enter it. Like, people are shooting themselves in the foot over it. These same people that are not finding consistent success, that are not finding the results they want in the market, can always point these fingers to themselves. It's every single time. You are in complete responsibility of the results that you get from doing this. And if you don't understand that, then you need to just forget it. Sorry. You need to just forget it. If you can't, at a fundamental level, acknowledge mistakes and the feedback the market is giving you, that's absolutely invaluable to what to do on your model and what not to do, I don't know what to tell you. Nobody's going to be able to help you. No amount of psychology is going to get you fixed. No amount of winning trades in a row is going to make you consistent. Nothing. Nothing at all. If you're not able to do deep dive analysis in your work and figure out what works, what doesn't, take the time to be able to see from a fundamental perspective, okay, when these specific confluences or these things arise, usually I'm fine, but if they're in conjunction with something else, then no. That was a lot of the back testing that I did this past week after I had that horrible last week on live execution. I started to realize, okay, there's a lot of things that are still questionable in my mind that I still need to look at. And once you take a deep dive into those questions, you'll figure out, okay, this is what I need to tweak. Maybe I shouldn't put my stop loss here. Maybe I should put it here and it works out more, right? And the results are going to be variable, right? Not one specific way is always going to be right in whatever market conditions, and that's fine. But we have a statistical probability to play out, and you are given a certain percentage of whatever sample data size that you have that it should work out. That is the goal. And have no extremities on that. No replay mode. No back testing last week's price when you knew what happened. It needs to be as rational, as disconnected as possible, random. And that's why some people don't like back testing, is because they get in there and they realize that, oh, I was trading during this time, or I kind of hit fast forward a little bit too much. I understand what price action is going to do. Stop. It isn't difficult. It isn't. And for the longest time, like, I have so much confidence this next week I'm going to get my payout. It's not even funny. Like, I have isolated everything to a specific step-by-step level, showing me what to do, what not to do, and I just go off that. That's it. Win, lose, I'm happy because I know I'm letting what is supposed to happen play out. But if you don't get to that point, you don't test, you don't do analysis on what's working, of course nothing's going to happen. Of course, if you see a setup, you're going to hesitate on it because you don't know what to take, what not to take. And that just comes with market experience. But I think essentially this video can be dumbed down to take the time to do the analysis, the grind, the hard work. I hate that word, the grind. I wouldn't even call it a grind because that implies that there's two forces constricting against each other. And that's not the truth. As traders, we want to align. We want to have alignment in our work. We want to feel as one with what we're doing. And when we do, we are able to enter a flow like athletes enter, where we get the feel for the market. We understand, okay, this is probable to happen, this isn't. And then we start to see, consistent success. But until then, the prerequisite of that is the monotonous, I would say annoying work and time to sit down at your computer at your desk and just look through setups, looking at your losses through a journaling software like TradeZella or something, and understand, okay, what do my losses have in common? Is it just hesitation because I haven't clearly defined what I do take and what I don't take? Or is there a specific factor that's at play here that I don't, that I'm not aware of, right? And let me end this with saying, you do not want to overanalyze everything. I am very bad for that. I'm a very awful person for that in my life and in trading. And what I've come to find out is that once you find a certain, I want to say, circle of your rules, what you look for, what you don't look for, make sure it's simple, make sure it's straightforward, that it's something you can understand and follow. Once you do that, let go of everything else. It doesn't matter. That's what I did. Everybody in my group trades different specific gaps, levels. Some people take 15 seconds in first fair value gaps. Some people only do 1 minute. Everybody's going to be different. But what you have to find out is what you're comfortable with, what's something that's easily repeatable, and something you can catch. That's what you put the effort into. So, essentially, in this video, I just basically described what it takes, why these deep dive and self-analysis and figuring out your model, isolating what works is essential to success. Essential. I haven't even traded this next week and I already have multitudes of confidence I didn't have last week. I just do, because I understand physically what I'm looking for now. It's not a question. It's not I see a setup and I kind of hesitate on it because I don't know if I can do this or that. Now I know. Now it's not a question. There is no debate. There's nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing that can sway my mind now. There's not. And that's what it needs to be. It needs to be simple enough to where we can understand it, and then easy enough to where we can execute it. So thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was a little bit of a rant, but I'm doing this just for my journaling purposes and in the hopes one day I can have a community of my own helping out other people. But until then, I'm just tracking what's going on in my life, tracking my trading, and I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.